James with Ikan. I'm here at NAB 2024 in Las Vegas. We are in booth C3835. I have here with me Justin and Rachel from FX Design. We have been working with FX for many, many years. They are one of our nearest and dearest partners. And so I brought them on stage here for you all to hear and listen to them talk about what they do, who FX is, and what they enjoy doing most during their time there. So I'm gonna ask those questions right now. Justin, tell us about FX Design and tell us about your role there and what you enjoy doing most.
Well, I am a project manager in lighting design for the company. I've been with the company for about 8 years. FX is a full-scale, full turnkey design firm. So what that means is we design, we fabricate, and we install. We also, not only in like broadcast, but we also do corporate studios, we do trade show booths, we do millwork storefronts. So we are under a large umbrella of services that we offer. And we've been in business for 38 years, going on 38 years. The company has evolved. Originally it started off as a pyrotechnics company, and then it became a lighting company, and then it became a trade show, and then we started getting into broadcast. And it's just evolved from this tiny thing into a real powerhouse of in the industry. And we're proud of that. We have a very cohesive team of professionals that bring many decades of combined experience. So that's something we pride ourselves on, and we're also very customer focused. So when we take on a project, we listen to our customers. We guide them through the process, and everything we do is like fully customized. So we start from the first design, thoughts and things like that, all the way we see the project through implementation and install. So,
Well, thank you for that, Justin.
yes.
And Rachel, same for you.
Yeah. So I'm one of the talented designers at FX Design Group, and I've been with the company going on 11 years. It'll be 11 years in July. And like Justin says, we take it from concept to reality. That's honestly my favorite process, is talking to the client, asking them, what are your needs, your wants, desires, and taking something from thin air and seeing it come to life. That whole process is very, very intriguing. That's what keeps me doing what I do, that whole process, and gaining those relationships with the clients. Specifically at NAB, it's so great to see past clients come by, even from 8 years ago, coming by and saying, we still love our set, we still get compliments from our set. Like that, I love to hear.
Thank you, Solar.
That's great.
Yes.
Your website has so many amazing photos and case studies of past projects. The video broadcast industry has many different segments. There is traditional TV broadcasts, corporations, education, government, houses of worship. Who are your core customers? And then follow up with that question, where do you see the greatest opportunity, either with your core customers or among some other market verticals and segments that you guys are exploring?
I would say our core customers are broadcast industry, professional TV, mainly TV stations. But we've also seen an uptick in recent years of more corporate studios. We do a lot of collegiate projects for like colleges, universities, even now at the high school level. A lot of high schools are starting to put more focus on broadcast, that to bring up the young professionals and kind of train a whole new generation about this industry. So I think that like a future outlook, I think that you're going to see a lot more kind of homemade type studios with more smaller organizations or single individuals that have, the very small businesses, but they want to get their message out there. They want to, create a lot of content. Because if you see some of the things that are out there now, you have like apps like TikTok and stuff like that. People are like creating their own content, whereas before you used to have to go to like a big company to do a commercial or something like that for you. So we're seeing an uptick in that, and I think that's kind of where it's heading as far as the future.
More
Stream-based.
Streaming.
stream-based,
Yeah,
away from
Twitch.
traditional television.
Yeah, and that's where like and I think we've talked about this before, that's where like price point and product reliability, like Ikan, where you guys offer like a great product for a great price and something that's in the realm of where people can afford it, and it looks good, makes them look good, and it's easy to set up, it's easy to use. So that's something that we are happy to be, part of.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Fun. Yeah, no, the definitely Twitch, TikTok, and even YouTube still, a lot of the homebrew kind of clientele where it's still like a single person, but they're growing and creating their own teams. I would still say that, the local broadcast is still our bread and butter, but we have expanded because the world of broadcast, not just for news, is expanding and evolving. And that's, I think, something that we're definitely seeing here at NAB.
Yeah, great. It is exciting to see that the TAM, the total addressable market for broadcast, it continues to expand, right? Started many, many decades ago with just call letter, traditional television.
Yes.
And then as the price points of products come down, now different institutions like corporations and education can afford it. Now houses of worship can as well. So it has been a very exciting transformation, and obviously allows all of us to do more work and more projects with a lot more different organizations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys meant, traditional television is still your bread and butter. I think the audience would be very interested in you guys kind of giving us a very high-level walkthrough of what is that whole experience like from the moment that a television station approaches you guys and say, hey, FX, we want to build a new set. What is that process like?
Well, for a project manager, it starts with a phone call or like an in-person meeting. And we basically gather kind of like what the scope of the project is going to be like. And we ask them a series of questions like, how big is your studio? What kind of content do you want to produce? What is your ultimate goal to get out of the project? When do you need to launch by? So there's a series of steps that we go through as far as the initial what we call initial contact with the customer. Once we kind of get a gauge of like where they're at, we'll provide feedback or guidance of like, okay, here's our recommendation for us to either move to like another step, or please gather this information before we can move to the next step. If they have everything kind of in order, then we have what's called an initial design call, where we bring on our design team. They ask their own series of questions in order to get an idea of what the design needs to be as far as set and things like that. So we can develop what we call an initial ground plan for the project. And we do it's not just traditional like TV sets. Sometimes we do newsrooms. We do little like stand-up interview type setup. So it's not just like, in for the nightly news or whatever like that. So once that's established, the designers work closely with the clients as well as the project manager and the lighting designer to kind of develop an initial like white model ground plan. And once that's ready, we take it back to the customer and we kind of walk through all of their feedback that they've given us is in that design at that point. We show them a 3D white model, we fly through it in an AutoCAD program, and then we get their feedback again, and usually we go through like one or two iterations of the design.
Sure.
And once they sign off on that design, then we start putting a budget together for them based on everything that's included in that. We'll produce a proposal, we'll submit that to them, then generally they'll take that to get funding. And at the same time, the designers will put everything into a 3 full color render, so that they can see what it's actually going to look like in real life. So things kind of happen concurrently, parallel as the process is going, so that we can make the process, fit timelines and not drag out too long. So once we get through that, generally they're able to get funding. Sometimes it takes a little longer. I mean, we work with clients with a course of as short as like 4 or 5 months to 3 or 2 to 3 years sometimes, depending on how the process goes. But once they approve it, and we deliver the renderings, they sign off on it, we go to contract. Then it moves in from contract and it goes to our fabrication department. They'll start doing the build draftings and everything. They'll start building it. We'll keep in contact with the customer constantly and just making sure we do weekly or bi-weekly meetings to make sure they're getting everything they need. If there's lighting involved, we'll reach out to our lighting vendors. We'll put POs in for equipment. We'll be tracking that. So there's a lot of things happening all at the same time to make sure that the project is on schedule. We deal with any kind of challenges that might arise. And then once everything comes in, we build the set, we ship it out. All the lighting and all the light equipment arrives on site, and then we go and we install it. And that typically takes like anywhere from 1 week to up to 2 weeks. And that's when the real like excitement, you can see like the general managers, all the crew and stuff at the TV stations are all like a buzz. Everybody's poking their head into the studio. We're in the process of installing, and lighting and scenic install kind of overlap a little bit. There's just a lot of excitement. That's when when you see it in real life, that's when the magic is in, and then the emotion comes out, and everybody's just so happy and excited. Once it gets installed, we light everything. We look at cameras. We adjust everything. We train our clients on how the lighting is set up and the workflow and everything. And then you have the final product, and they launch. So that's kind of in a nutshell how it is from my perspective.
Well, you covered a lot. For my end, he's driving the bus. So for the design process, we have, he does the initial contact, and then we have the first design meeting where I'm starting to ask all the nitty gritty, what's worked for them in the past, what hasn't worked for them in the past, what are the key areas that they need, is it anchor area, how big of an anchor area, weather, how important is weather for your team? Obviously, if you're in Tornado Alley, you might want a bigger, weather is more important. It's a bigger presence, even more so than like the anchor area. Do they need, multi-purpose? And by that, I mean, are they doing interviews? Are they doing sports or smaller crosstalk conversations, or even cooking demos? We had a station that was like, we bring in a mariachi band. It's like, well, how many members is that? Like, how much room do we need to accommodate for that?
How big is the hat?
Yes,
right.
You got the volume of space.
So, knowing that, and also what really important is also knowing how many cameras they have. Some stations might only have 3 cameras and that's it, and they're locked. They don't move. So while I could create something beautiful, it's about what the camera sees at the end of the day, not who's walking into the studio and looking at it. So I'm having to frame these shots knowing that, they need these key anchor shots. They're going to want these key weather shots. And, okay, how else can I utilize these 3 cameras? Can we get a multi-purpose section in there? Are they also shooting a key wall with one of these cameras? So it's a bit of math, Tetris, as well as, just overall visual creativity that go into the mix. And, as Justin was mentioning, there is some massaging, because obviously, sometimes we might get it right out of the gate, but, there might have been someone who wasn't on the first meeting who was like, hey, you guys didn't think about this. I was like, oh, we didn't know that you had a giant elephant door on the south wall that needs to have access.
The most important thing, though, is listening to the customer, and at the end of the day, making sure they are 200% happy and we're delivering exactly what they want. Because our goal is to never walk away from a project with somebody that's like, this didn't turn out to be what we wanted. We want to ensure that whatever we deliver to them is exactly what they wanted, and everybody is happy, and that's what our goal is ultimately.
And to his point is that we like to tell the clients is like, while I love my design, and I want to be confident with my design when I present it to you, but if you're not happy with it, tell me. Because constructive criticism, it's like I might be a little upset, but at the end of the day, it's just as much my baby as it is theirs.
Sure.
That's even more so for them, because they're the ones that have to live and work on it for, some of these sets, last 20 years. So we got to make sure that not just that their anchors, the engineers, the meteorologists have to live and breathe on these sets. It's their office.
Can they feel? Yeah, you guys, from the beginning of this conversation, this fireside chat, you guys have said customer first, customer first, customer first. It's very evident as you guys walk with all of us through that process that so much of it is about hearing their input, hearing what they want, hearing their needs,
Absolutely.
and also guiding them through this really complicated process, right?
Yeah.
I imagine some of your customers have been part of the journey, others are doing it maybe for the first or second time.
Yep.
There's a lot of questions, right? Like,
Yep.
I don't want to miss anything. And it sounds like the process that you guys have just described is this super premium white glove concierge service that literally takes their hand and guides them through the whole process. No stone is left unturned, right? And then, like you said, when you guys deliver the process and the final product, it's had so many touch points, so many back and forth. It's really, there's no surprises at the end of the deliverable, right? Because everything would have been communicated. The renderings would have given them a very high degree of confidence of what they would expect, and then the fabrication process would, very much be work in lockstep, right? From graphics to reality.
Over half of our clientele is repeat customers over the last 40 years that we've been in business. So, and we pride ourselves on that. But I will tell you, we could not do what we do without partnerships like ICANN, where you guys are focused on customers as well. And anything we need, if a customer has, a concern or whatever, you guys are there. And that's who we like working with. And obviously our dedicated staff, our leadership, our CEO down to, the logistics manager that we have, to our designers. It's a very cohesive environment. Everybody kind of chips in and everybody gives 200%.
Yeah.
And that's really what makes it work. It's not one individual. It's a multitude of who we choose to work with, vendors and employees and things like that. So it takes, like they say, it takes an army, or whatever the saying is, it takes a village, right?
Yes, it takes a village.
And that could not be more true than, why we're successful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, going back to something you said earlier, that we do have repeat clientele, but there's also times where we have a station who they know exactly what they want. They come up with a packet, and then there are others who are like, we have never done this before. We've had this set for 30 years. Our entire team is brand new, and they are heavily relying on us to help ask those questions that they didn't even think about. So having the resources, the expertise to that. What am I, I'm asking the questions that I'm thinking about. What am I forgetting? Justin, what, or, drafting, what am I missing that, would be helpful to know? And they're able to take it back to their team. Like, guys, we didn't even think about this, because it goes beyond just the set design, the infrastructure, because it's all, you need it all to come together for a good launch.
Yeah. And when you do that with especially a brand new client, right, or a client who's going through the process for the first time, right, there's a lot of trust and goodwill that's built, and you have a client for life.
Yes.
And when that client has a friend or a colleague in a different station or a different media group say, hey, who should we go to? Your set looks great, right? It's that word of mouth is huge.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is so true.
Especially in this industry, that while NAB makes it seem like it's so huge, really it's very small in the grand scheme.
It's a niche business.
Yes.
It is the grand scale, big picture.
It really is. And you mentioned about our partnership. Our companies, not only is it that our products complement your services and your production really well, but it's also the culture of both our organizations and the people within our organizations, right? We just connect at a level of deep cooperation and trust. And we both have this philosophy that we will not fail our customers no matter what, right? We will backstop anything.
Accurate.
We will not fail our customers. We will deliver what we promised and more, but we will never deliver less than what we promised. Yeah,
and that is evident in both companies' success. ICANN has been around for a long time. But you know what sets us apart is that we listen to each other, we listen to our customers, and we're constantly trying to evolve and develop new products and new services. And how can we improve? How can we stay relevant? How can we ensure that we are not kind of falling by the wayside? it's all about evolution and adaptability. So you have to, I think that's like the number one thing that any business has to recognize is you have to adapt to changing times, changing economies, things like that. So it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great segue into some of the new lighting products that we are showing here at NAB.
Yes.
I know you guys are very excited about it.
Absolutely.
Let's just talk about the big elephant in the room, which is our new Power over Ethernet lighting.
A lot of excitement, a lot of buzz. We've had several of our customers that we've introduced to the product, and the number one thing I get is we tell them, okay, there's a brand new product out, PoE product, and some of them are like, what's PoE? And others are like, are you serious? Because one of the challenges we faced in the past, and as we talked about in the beginning, more of our customers are kind of mom and pop, like single individuals, but they're putting their studios in like regular office buildings with like low ceiling heights and things like that. They don't have a lot of like power in their ceiling, things like that. The PoE light is a game changer for that kind of environment. It's easy to set up and use, and it's very clean. You're dealing with one cable. It really is going to allow those kind of individuals and those kind of smaller companies and things to really get into this game and be successful. Not to mention, you guys a couple of years ago developed the low profile LWX8
with your input.
Yes,
and with FX's input.
That was also a game changer. And now that you have the PoE with that low profile fixture, we can go into any newsroom or office setting with a lower ceiling, and the customer saves a ton of money because they don't have to hire an electrical GC to come in. That's very expensive. Plus, they're still at a great price point. So it's very exciting. The PoE is really a game changer. And I think once more of your customers and our clients and stuff get their hands on it, they use it, they test it. I've had nothing but positive feedback so far of the product, and we're looking to utilizing it in more spaces and on more projects, frankly.
Yeah,
So,
we've got several projects, in cooking in the pipeline, which obviously we can't talk about here at the show.
Right.
The one project we can't talk about is University of Missouri School of Communications and Journalism, right? Last November, right, is when we had our very first PoE install, the world's first studio lit with PoE lights, and that was a very exciting joint cooperation between us and you guys, and as well as Netgear, right? So we've got a really cool case study that Netgear is leading the charge with, and should be publishing very soon, really highlighting the benefits of using this new technology. So we're really excited. We're really excited to have you guys as a partner in that, and we're excited for all the projects that we're about to do afterwards.
We are too. We are definitely excited.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time. Justin, Rachel, it's been a pleasure talking with you guys.
Same here.
Hope you guys have a wonderful the rest of NAB 2024. Thank you.
Thank you so much, James. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.